What is up, guys? Welcome to a new Clash Mini video. Now today, guys, we're going to be going over what occurred over on the Clash Mini Discord stage channel on the 29th, where Vlad, the community manager, answered some questions from Abdude, another Clash Mini YouTuber. And you know what he went over is some of the behind the scenes stuff that game developers don't really have they don't really voice out. And this actually happened on voice call. He answered some questions, gave some feedback, and we're going to go over some of those questions that he had. I'm going to give my personal opinion on some of the topics that he went over. So if you're new, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and let's jump into the stage channel questions. All right, so the first question that Abdude asked Vlad was, will there be synergies brought to Clash Mini? Now, if you're new to the Clash Mini genre, new to the auto battler genre, synergies are kind of like abilities that other minis or other characters give to another character or another piece on the board, and it either buffs them, gives them a faster attack speed or health. And so he asked Vlad if that was coming to the game or if ever was thought of to come to the game, and Vlad's response was they were going to be called factions. And he said he's not really sure, just because they maybe want to add more minis that have different abilities and stuff like that, not really giving it where you have to, put different things just to synergize them and, for that to work. So there's the first question. All right, so next are hero abilities changing place from level 5 and level 10. And supposedly this is going to be something that's actually coming in the next update. Is that they had worked out and looked at some of the abilities that level 10 minis heroes have, and some of them really feel overwhelming as if if you're not a level 10, that level 10 ability is really strong. And I know before I had a level 10, going against level 10s, it was really crazy because some of them, the abilities just make them super OP. And at level 5, they get a nice ability that might help change the course of the game. But as a level 10, that ability is so strong that a lot of people just kind of give up at that point. And so now them looking it over and probably testing it a few times, they probably saw a big drastic difference and have thought, okay, these level 10 abilities would work really well for this mini hero at level 5. So we might see that in the next upcoming change. Hopefully, I'm actually risked. I think the Royal Champion, I think her shield ability or the knockback would actually work really well at level 5 and level 10. All right, so next was landscape, and Vlad actually talked about how when you see somebody playing or somebody on their phone, generally you get the the sense of, like, when you see them like this, holding their phone in portrait, they're either texting or scrolling through social media. But generally when you see them in landscape, there's kind of like only a few things that you can see they're doing. They're either watching a video, I could definitely see somebody going like this and watching a video, or they're using their camera, or they're they're gaming, they're actually playing games. But my personal opinion on it is, I think Clash Mini, the way it works right now, being in portrait is really comfortable like this. It's honestly, it's a lot really familiar. And if you're coming from Clash Royale, it's a big familiar basis. I know a lot of people, when they switched from Brawl Stars, when Brawl Stars was in portrait and it switched to landscape, it just threw the whole, people crazy kind of feeling, because you were so used to playing it in portrait. But I think Clash Mini in portrait I think it's to stay in portrait. All right, now next, they had talked about using Reddit. Now, I don't use Reddit. A lot of dev teams actually use Reddit because I think Reddit is more of a hardcore following. And so, yeah, they're going to go on Reddit, and he says that he looks up a lot of the, the posts that have up arrows, people up it and down it, and that's how they scroll through some of the Reddit feedback and see what people are, saying, if there's some suggestions on a new mini or a new hero or rework or balance, that they use Reddit. So if you use Reddit, go ahead and go on and use Reddit for Clash Mini content, and hopefully, you guys use Reddit, and that's really what the Reddit part was. All right, so next was 2v2. They said there's no current plans for 2v2, and I think 2v2 part is a little bit later. I think once they get down the core features for person and player's perspective, whether that's duels or rumbles, I think once they have that solidified and it's polished, then they could actually add 2v2 or other game modes that people can play. Once they either get worn out or tired of rumbles or duels, they have another game mode that they could try out and play. Hopefully 2v2 does come, but hopefully once it comes, it's at a time where the rumble experience isn't as daunting as it is right now, and duels is a good alternative to rumbles. All right, so next was the mini pass. Now the mini pass, if you have not bought it, the mini pass is very, very valuable. And one thing that they did this time was they added the Wave Master skin. You can get the Wave Master skin and the pass for a little bit more money, and I think them adding that generally is going to come off of people's data. Like basically, like, did a lot of people buy this offer? And if they did, then we'll keep doing it. If they don't see people adding that or buying that, then it'll probably go down. But I think when generally people see that there's a skin added into the pass, they might lean toward buying it. Generally, I mean, I bought that. I bought the pass with the skin, and I thought it was a really good deal because I got another skin for the new hero that was added to the game. So hopefully it's not as price steep. A little bit. I don't know if they want to add how much these heroes or mini skins will be worth, but I do think adding that as another way of getting more content is a good alternative, just as long as it's not as steep of a price. All right, so next was emotes in the game, and honestly, I think the way the game plays out now, I want to have it's 50-50 for me, honestly. Really 50-50 due to the fact that you're not actively in control of what's going on once the battle starts. It's not like Clash Royale where, it's real time. You could stop them, the other person from doing something, or you can zap on the spot, stuff like that. All that is played out autoly. It's auto going on. So that just frees up the time people could just emote. I mean, it's like 20 seconds, I think, maybe, depending on how fast the matchup goes on. And I can't go emphasize on this more, but I think if they do add it, it's got to have some kind of time base where it's every 5 seconds or something, because I could see 10-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 80-year-olds. I could see people just spamming the emote button going off and on. So hopefully they work that out. Hopefully the emotes, they did say that's being discussed, and I honestly think that part is, there's a massive way that they could do that. They can do like Clash Royale does it, or Brawl Stars, how Brawl Stars does pins. So there's a big part for that. Hopefully they just work it out so it's not as annoying as I see it being annoying. All right, so next was adding level caps to friendly matches and a tournament standard. Now, I think this is something that as the game gets more deeper and more people want to pursue, competitive gameplay or just friendly gameplay, and playing and practicing and trying to figure out decks, there's got to be some kind of standard where it's either level 10 max, which I honestly think that should be thing. I think if you're playing a friendly game, all star abilities are available, all level for the heroes is available. That way you can just play the game at the full experience, and you get to really test everything out. You could play it competitively, you could play it for practice, and hopefully that's something that they do add to the game soon. Now, one thing that they actually did confirm happening is friendly matches in clans. Now, I think the friendly matches in clans will definitely go into the the previous part that I talked about, practicing decks, making more decks, seeing what's viable, seeing what's not viable, and just having players iron out what decks are really strong, what minis work really well, and that's going to be added. Also, another thing that they had confirmed is going to be added is that you'll be able to do quests with your clan mates, which is honestly, I mean, that's a lot of some of the quests in the game. Some of it's like, oh, don't get your minis knocked out, win 3-0 in a duel. I honestly think during ladder part, doing duels and rumbles, those are kind of hard to be able to do. But if you could do it in your clan, I mean, you could use somebody in your team, in your clan, be like, hey, don't put anything on the board. Let me just win easily. I mean, that's just another way to clear off some quests, and hopefully they add more quests, more diverse quests, so that you can be able to test things out, play different minis, and really just diversifying what is actually being played, and not everybody playing the same decks. All right, so next is I actually got to raise my hand and ask one of the questions. So we'll be playing that clip right about now. It's more lean toward balance changes.
Hmm.
The last stage channel that we had did, where Fan was he was here. He had talked about how he had nerfed Wizard too much. And one of my questions is like, when you guys did the balance changes recently, did you guys test and see that, like Wizard would have been too strong if you rebalanced him back for the nerf that you guys had given him?
Yes, I do believe that in update 3 we are going to put him back into the kind of more balanced state. I can double check. Just a minute. This is like a live checking. So, okay, yes. So he's gonna be back to 75%.
Okay.
75. So it's a happy middle between 150.
All right. So I honestly, with that clip, I wanted to ask that question. I had actually tweeted about it, but I didn't get a response for that. And I think giving the Wizard the buff and making anti-heal viable in the game, because they did nerf healing, but healing is still pretty dominant. You could still run Healing Ranger or Battle Healer, which not that many people use Battle Healer, but she's still pretty viable with healing. And I think if there's healing, there's got to be some kind of anti-healing, something to counter that mechanic. So I'm really happy that, I don't play Wizard just because I don't think Wizard's that viable right now. He's really not, especially with the nerf that they gave him. So hopefully this brings Wizard back in. We do get to see anti-healing that will counter, the Wave Master, Healing Ranger, stuff like that. And so I'm really happy about that one. And thanks for, getting my question asked. Yeah. All right. So next was a beta exclusive emote. Now they had talked about this kind of like an emote that if you were part of the beta, you get an emote that it'll be exclusive to beta, depending on the next. Like if you join the game within whatever time frame, you have this emote and it will never be given to the global audience ever again. If beta exclusive, really open to that. If you have not seen how to get Clash Mini, there's a video down in the description so you guys can get it and start playing Clash Mini today. Now next is they're going to be adding something, a reward for linking your Supercell ID to your account, so that way you could have your account saved to Supercell ID in case you ever get a new phone, or pretty much if you get a new phone or if you lose your account, you have a way to back up and get your account back by doing that. All right, so next is going to be a change pretty much once global happens, but currently in the game, if you play ranked and you play casual, you could still face the same people, but you're not losing trophies, you're just playing it casually. And once global happens, once the player pool really expands more than, I don't know how many people are currently playing the game, but once the player pool goes from this to, not even on the screen, that shouldn't be a big deal, to be honest. There's going to be so many people playing casual, trying to learn the game, learn the mechanics, and then there's going to be people playing ranked. So that one should, finish out once the game goes global, if it goes global. All right, now next question that was asked was, are spells going to be added to the game? Now, Vlad had talked about and said that it's kind of hard to implement, especially because it works. The spells work really well in Clash Royale because it's live, and you're able to do the spells to get your push going or stop a push, or and in this game, they're trying to come up with alternatives, which I personally believe that I don't think a spell, I mean, maybe like if you put a spell like at the start, you could put something there, on a certain part of the board where it affects the other player. But otherwise, I honestly would like it where they just add it to an ability of a mini. That way, they could add another mini, but it has this ability only. Kind of like the Lumberjack with the raid spell. He's the only mini in the game that has the raid spell. Instead of having the actual raid spell, it's put into a mini into the mechanics. So hopefully that's something that they add. Now next is the game boards. There's no option to actually choose what game board you're playing on. It's just random. If you're in friendlies, you can't play on the shell map. If you guys don't know what the shell map is, it's the map that has a seashell, not by the seashore, but it has a seashell, and whatever mini you put on it, it throws them to the other side. You can't play that map in friendlies. What's that map? I like it. I think it definitely switches up what actually happens, because there's definitely, you have to watch where you're putting your minis, and then you have to make sure that if they're going to send something over, where it's going to land on your side. And currently there's not an alternative to, like, you can pick in friendly games like what board you want to play on. So they're going to probably fix that, and add that, mini games have all boards. You can either click your board or it's randomly. That'll be a good change once they bring that. Now next is kind of an issue. It's not really an issue. It's just it's honestly a strategy that some people are using, but it's called clash ability. Certain minis have a clash ability that only they have, and some decks, there's a Wave Master clash ability deck, which is just, it's disgusting to go against. And if you're using it, it's really powerful. They had, you know, talked about potentially in the future maybe limiting it, but I think my opinion is that the clash abilities are pretty much only certain minis have that ability to make them more diverse so that they're not the same. I honestly like that. I think that, you know, they limit what minis and what heroes have these abilities, but that there's also a counter to them. Maybe like an I don't know what they were thinking, maybe anti-clash or something that minis have that stops that ability from happening. Kind of like Dissipate doesn't let you make a super. I think there's got to be something that added to the game that helps give super a little bit more since Dissipate's in the game. So hopefully that's one thing that they add to the game soon. They potentially are, you know, maybe in the future, but we'll see. All right, so next was competitive direction. What direction is the game going? Are they going to be adding spectating, replays, tourney holders? They're going to be going, you know, just trying to see what people are actually looking for. And the one thing that I experienced with it is because I did a tournament. The one problem we had was spectating. I mean, we already got it figured out, but the spectating, it's not the same. It really depends on what that person's, you know, Wi-Fi connection is. So like I had it where the guy's screen was on my, I had his screen up, and it was, if he had a bad connection, it showed. So hopefully they do add spectating soon. I think that's kind of more either closer to global or a global feature that they'll add. Replays, I also think that's something that's a little bit more global toward, but something that they could add pretty soon. You know, being able to share show your replay, see how you lost, because the whole game is auto. You know, after you put your minis down and that timer runs out, everything's auto-based, you know, so being able to go back and see what actually happened with the replays is definitely a good feature that hopefully they do add soon. Definitely a feature they'll add globally. Yeah. And lastly, guys, is tomorrow, May 1st, Smol Talk is dropping. So if you guys don't know what Smol Talk is, if you guys watched Brawl Stars, it's pretty much Clash Minis version of Brawl Talk. It's where they're going to be talking about the update, what's coming. I will be doing a reaction video, so you guys can also see that on the channel. Make sure to subscribe for further, you know, Clash Mini reaction or Smol Talk reaction videos. And hopefully we get I think I already saw the thumbnail. It talks about mini reworks, trophy road, and more. Some of the stuff that we did talk about, I talked about in these questions that they also talked about. They will be breaking it down in the Smol Talk. So if you guys are hyped up for that, make sure to subscribe so you guys do not miss the reaction video. If you have not tried Clash Mini, go ahead and give it a try. If you do not know how to change your region to Canada or Finland, if you're on iOS or Android, the game is available on both for you to try today. Thanks for watching. Peace out.